Hello everyone, this is Maryann here from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality, wherever you are in the world when you're watching. A huge shout out to you. Weren't you all lovely in my last reading in the comments section when I lost the first reading and then I redid the reading and recapped on the clairvoyant images that I had around Epstein's murder. I'm just going to say it like that because it was a murder. You were all so lovely. Sorry that I'd lost the reading and thanking me for the service that I give. So, it didn't matter that I lost the reading and I'm back here again and I'm sure I'm recording right now. So, let's get started. Of course, between now, something to wipe the smile off my face, between now or from the time I did my last reading until now, we've had Trump, I'm just going to say takeover DC, Washington DC. It is a takeover. The police department has been federalised, or is trying to. The thing is that this can only be short term. This is only for 30 days. Of course, after that, if he wanted permanent control over DC or longer term control, he actually has to go to Congress. What stops him, given that the Republicans hold the power in Congress, from doing that is that it would need 60 votes in the Senate, and he's not going to get that. So will he keep rolling the 30 days over? That's the question, of course. He may try and do that. That's not what the 30 days are there for. The short-term rule is there for. So as with everything that he does, it will end up in the courts. Now, he threatened to go into other cities and do the same thing. Again, he can't do that in the longer term. But many are saying that this is just to get Americans used to seeing military on the streets. Before Trump got in 2024, or some would say he didn't, but before he took office in 2024, I said to another reader, I think he's going to put military on the streets. And the other reader said, no, if he does that, that will be the end of him. Well, he's not only done it now, but he's continuing to do it. Now, let's go over to California for a minute. Newsom versus Trump. There is a court case, a bench. It's only heard by the judge, and it is around Trump, what Trump did earlier this year in marshalling the Guard and troops into California. The judge is to rule on that, and we'll take a look where that might go. I've read some of the evidence, and it's so clear that there were so many holes in what Trump did. So that is one to watch. As with all of this, we have the attempt to subvert liberty and law, but we have him not being successful in some attempts and being successful in other attempts. It's the court that is the backstop. So we'll see where the DC occupation is going to go. Will Senate give him control over DC? I doubt it, but I'll throw cards on it. Will it spread to other cities? Well, he's threatened that. I'm sure he's going to try. We have the Putin Trump meeting in Alaska, of all places, on Friday. As you know, Alaska was once owned by Russia and sold it to America. And I think it's a real kick in the teeth for Alaskans to have a war criminal, particularly in Russia, where it's part of their culture to say, well, Alaska is ours. Alaska's always been Russia's. So where's Putin and Trump meeting? In Alaska? So I think this is a bit of a kick in the teeth, particularly to the senator there, Senator Murkowski, who, like a lame duck, voted for his Medicaid stripping, government funding stripping bill, deficit increasing bill, and then later on cried like a kid saying, oh, but I didn't think he would do, he was supposed to. Yeah, okay. So anyway, it's a very weak senator. So Putin and Russia in Alaska. I said in my last reading I think there could be a ceasefire announced, but As for the deal kind of stuff, this is just, I think, Putin's way to get what he can out of Trump and then keep prolonging that invasion. People keep saying it's a war. It's not. Let's not muck about. Russia invaded a sovereign country, Ukraine. And now Putin, the war criminal, is walking free in Alaska, in a state that Russia once owned, really giving Americans the middle finger. Okay, so we'll look at whether or not a ceasefire comes out of that. But more importantly, is Putin flexing his muscles on the compromat that he has on Trump. Also, I'm starting to get a little concerned, to say the least, that, well, about freedom of speech generally in America. There's being it's being eroded for sure. Over in the UK, J.D. Vance's Secret Service went door knocking in the UK around where he's staying in the Cotswolds, demanding to see people's social media. Citizens who just live next door or in the neighbourhood. And of course some refused. I mean, how dare they? What sort of authority have they got to do that? For the first time in the US history, now let's go back to the US, nobody's going to the US. There's actually more people, according to the Bulwark, more people leaving America than coming in. And, I posted something on Blue Sky today. Yeah, this is my little soapbox, about why would anybody want to go to America under these current circumstances? You'd have to have rocks in your head. A New Zealand mother and a 6-year-old son was detained detained in custody over many days, in a cell with her son. Because she had a legal visa, but she was nevertheless arrested, handcuffed. The child was traumatized and put into custody. So, why would anyone, from my neck of the woods anyway, want to travel to the US? We don't. Here's a little secret to those in the red states that think everybody's clambering to get into the US. No, we're not. We have healthcare here. We still have a civilised and sane society. And we certainly don't have a Donald Trump. So, no, we're not clambering to get into the US. All right. And by the way, our inflation is tracking quite well. We've just had an interest rate cut, and our government is stable, and we certainly don't have the army on our streets. So, no, we don't want to come to the US. And I'm sorry for my US viewers to have to say that, but you're the ones telling us not to come. So, yeah. All right, let's get started with today's reading after the intro. Where will we start, viewers? Where will we start? DC takeover. All right. Does he intend to go past the 30 days? Does Trump intend go past the 30 days in the DC? Oh, something fell out, and we have 6 of Swords moving out of troubled waters and moving on. So we know that this whole DC takeover was a threat. It's done for a number of reasons. By the way, Russia hacked into the federal court system in the US, no doubt to get the Epstein papers, and Trump was basically said, well, that's what they do. Well, I'm not shocked or surprised. That's what they do. What a poor response from a president. Okay, let's go back. We could talk like this for ages, but we won't. Okay, will Trump try and occupy DC beyond 30 days? I think he will. I heard yes. I don't know how he's going to do it. It'll be illegally. Ace of Cups, but it'll be on the skin of his teeth that he does it. The Ace of Cups, so there's a lot of emotion here, and the government. I don't even think MAGA would say that this is the hardcore MAGA will obviously say, yeah, own the Dems, own the libtards. But I think normal Republicans are probably just as horrified. We have the 6 of Coins, debt, loans and debt. Looks like it's going to go to the courts, and I don't know how that happens because the power it really stays with the Congress. The Chariot is something that's done very quickly in the past, and something that can get out of control fairly quickly. He's trying to, the thought ran through my mind. Are there 10 or however many Democratic senators that are needed that would vote for this? And I don't think so. Offering a deal of some sort, and then we get the Three of Coins. They're right now trying to work out a way to go beyond the 30 days, because that's what they do. We have volatility in the here and now, things coming up from the surface, underneath to the surface, and we go to the King of Wands, the lawmakers. Crime is down in DC, by the way. Hopes and fears. It seems like the Republicans will fall into line in pretty much everything, unless it threatens their chance of re-election. They'll fall into line with Trump. He is going to try and occupy beyond the 30 days. The Empress card is the outcome. The King of Coins. There's money tied up in this. What is this? Is he going to threaten to defund DC and wish fulfillment? Yeah, definitely he is. They're trying to find a legal loophole to allow him to do it. But it's quite clear that the Congress controls the DC via the DC local government. The power isn't within the president's purview. There's something around, what is this? Is he going to withhold funding? Is he going to, I don't know. There's something around funding here to do with DC. So God knows what that's going to be like, but that's what I'm picking up. Yes, he is going to try and go beyond the 30 days. He will probably try and roll over, and there's funding here that's important in this question. All right, will he get 60 votes to control DC? I think it's laughable. I'd even ask that question. Will Trump get 60 votes to control DC in the Senate? Okay. The Moon. Obviously not. They might be approaching some of those senators. They are. People like Fetterman, he came to mind. But I can't see that there would be 60. Three cups, circles of support. The Two of Swords is crossroads. In the sky, we have the Five of Wands, but it's reversed. So we have partisanship. And, fighting it, and then the death, it ends. No, it's not. One more clarify, Six of Coins here. He's going to threaten through the budget, like withholding money from DC, something like that. But it's not going to go, he might try and roll it over, but in the long term, no, he's got to get out of DC. And on that, will he try and do this in the shorter term to other cities, what he's done in California? Will he try that in other democratic states? Will Trump try will he send the military and the guards into other cities in America? Will Trump send the military and the guards into other cities in America? Yeah, he wants the clash, unfortunately. This is all very worrying in the lead up to the midterms. I've already said in countless readings that he's going to try everything to voter suppression, gerrymandering, all of that. He's going to try again. But I still think that there's a slim majority for the Democrats. But then we have to have the seating of the new Congress. It's, I think the occupation of DC will be over by then, but yeah. Okay, so we have the Chariot here. Yeah, overriding the will and the law, the will of the people, and sending it in. He's trying to get, I mean, is he trying to lead up to declaring martial law? It's something like that. There is a strategy here. The Five of Cups, death, 3 cups lost and 2 remaining. It's like it's not going to work, and that's what I feel. He's going to try it, but he's in the past. The King of Coins is in the past. So we need to remember that anything can and will happen. Life is like that. Trump may be planning for the long term. Trump, as I've repeatedly seen, will not be here, will not do a full term that I can see. Now, what's the timing on that? I don't know. I can't predict that. I just imminently have seen for years now, health problems and ultimately an untimely passing. The Six of Coins, he's going to try and withhold money from these cities. The Ace of Cups generate, this of course was deflection from Epstein. Is he going to go into other cities? Now, there's a lot of worry around this now. But he's also worried about the past. He's also worried about the past, which would be Epstein. Four of Coins, again, holding back information. But this is in the hopes and fears. This is all, yes, it's part of a strategy to brutalize the American citizens, brutalize immigrants, brutalize asylum seekers, brutalize people who've been, on visas or not on visas working in America for decades. It's all part of a brutality campaign. And yes, he is. And we get this Empress card again coming up. It's almost like he's following Putin's playbook here. And then we get the end of something, the World card, the end of something, the beginning of something new. And then we have boundaries holding. Okay. So ultimately, this isn't going to work either. Doesn't stop him from trying. Let's go to the Newsom Trump Judge Breyer. Will he rule? I think he's the brother of a former Supreme Court Justice. Will the judge rule that Trump acted illegally to send in the guards in California, guards and military? It seems very shaky, and the general sounds in the transcript sounds like he just proceeded without. This is the disappointing thing. He just proceeded without checking, without countering, he just rolled over and did what he was told to do. Now, I know that is the way that Trump is commander-in-chief. However, he didn't stop to consider this might be an illegal order. If you get a chance, read the transcripts. Okay, so will Trump have found to have sent the guards, the military in illegally? There is a case to do with a woman that was arrested in California illegally. This might come to prominence at some time in the future here. They did make citizen arrests. Anyway, watch for that. Okay, so will the judge find Trump acted illegally? Will the judge find Trump acted illegally? It seems like the judge is horrified by what has happened. So there's the King of Coins. And then we have the Ace of Coins. They're going to talk about withholding, money from the judiciary. Walking away from what no longer serves us, loss. Seems like there's going to be a loss here for Trump. The King of Swords is in the past. So objectivity and the rule of law is still current in this case. So often we see it trampled upon. No, it's still here. The Seven of Coins. So I think what he may do is he's going to say that he didn't have that authority to do that. And of course they're going to go to the next appeal court. I mean, this isn't going to end here. The Four of Cups would indicate he loses, which is disappointment and a loss in the immediate future. But we have the High Priestess here, so something else is brewing underneath all of this. He loses this court case, I think, but he's got other plans. The Four of Wands. I think it's a celebration for the Democrats that they win for Newsom. Newsom's performing extremely well against Trump. In fact, he's taken to sounding like Trump obviously as a parody, but it's a very effective thing. He's tweeting in all caps. His language is a lot like Trump's. It's actually bringing a smile to my face. But I think he gets a win, but he better be prepared because there's something else they've got up their sleeve. The King of Cups is in the hopes and fears. Yes, we do want, all of us, no matter what part of the world we're in, we want maturity and wisdom in our leaders, and we fear when it's not there. We have a lot of anxiety, and we have the Chariot, and we have the Page of Cups. There is something in this judgment that is unexpected, I have to say, and we have the Six of Coins again. Again, giving and receiving help, but it's also the Lover's card. It's also those helping illegal immigrants against ICE. So I think overall, yes, he did act illegally. However, he will find, I don't know, the judgment's a little bit. He will find that. That's those people who did help or acted against ICE were breaking the law too. So there's a kind of, yes, he rules, I think, but he rules that it was illegal. But yeah, there's something else here that comes up in the judgment, and now I think it goes to appeal, and I think that's already a fait accompli. They're already plotting their next steps. Now I want to say that. A viewer of mine from Switzerland gifted me a beautiful major arcana from a Swiss developer, Nikki St. Fali. So I probably didn't pronounce that correctly, but I'll just pull. I've been looking for an opportunity to pull these cards. Now there's a great deal of anxiety here. We have the Chariot. What's underneath the pack? The Knight of Wands. Movement forward with a plan, and the Sun. Yeah, so, and strength. I definitely think that it is a positive for California, but I think there's something else here that it will definitely go to appeal, but there's something else in the judgment that's a bit worrying for me. But definitely, I think, well, definitely as I can be. I may be right, I may be wrong. Not right all the time, but I think the judgment is for Newsom. Okay, so is this correct? Can you show me a clarifier? There's a lot of worry and anxiety around this, most likely because it's a test case. The Magician manifestation, and we have the Moon. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword in some way here, and the World card, the end of something. So I think the ruling is for Newsom, but there's something there that I can't put my finger on. It is going to appeal anyway. I don't think ultimately he's successful. There is the rule of law, and it exists for a reason. It doesn't matter how Trump wants to spin it. There is something here around those that try and prevent ICE doing its job that will come out in the court case. But I think it's a win for Newsom, which then will have an overflow effect to the other states. All right. So let's have a look at the Trump meeting, Trump-Putin. I said I thought a ceasefire announcement would come out of it. It seems that's what the strategy is from Europe and Zelensky. A ceasefire, then negotiations happen after a ceasefire. Okay, so the Trump... will there be a ceasefire that comes out of Trump-Putin meeting? Will there be a ceasefire that comes out of Trump-Putin meeting? All right, that one wants to come. Death, the end, yeah. So there is the end of death. And then the Three of Coins, yeah. There is some kind of ceasefire that occurs or announcement of a ceasefire, and then we have negotiations coming after that. We have strength here as at the foundation of the reading. We have the Wheel of Fortune in the past. Again, I said Putin wants American trade. We have Justice in the sky. Justice. It's an interesting card. And the Ace of Wands, a plan. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing some kind of ceasefire, but I don't trust Putin, and neither should you. Only a fool would trust Putin. A deal and the Chariot. The deal and the Chariot, yeah. So it looks like that's King of Cups. That's what he wants. Trump wants to announce that, and the King of Swords, yeah. So we have a ceasefire, I think, being announced, but then we have betrayal. Why am I not surprised? And then the Four of Coins holding back. It may be an initial announcement of a ceasefire, but it's not that simple, is it? We have the Five of Coins, sabotage and abuse of power. So the articles that say Trump's walking into a trap, yeah. I think he's not that innocent. I think he's willingly walking there. Let's see if Putin has compromat regarding Epstein, which the Russian Prime Minister threatened. Does Putin have compromat? Does Putin have compromat on Trump? Just a few cards. Just a few cards. Let's reshuffle. Does Putin have compromat regarding Epstein on Trump? Does Putin have compromat regarding Epstein on Trump? Don't forget Netanyahu was in Russia a lot before Gaza. Ace of Coins and the Emperor card. Yep. Now, this is also about money laundering as well. Money laundering and debt. Oh my God. Trump is in there, debt. Five of Coins. This springs from a time when he didn't have a lot of money. So they have financial stuff on him as well. The Ten of Coins, the Trump org. Absolutely. The Ace of Cups. A deal. A reset. The High Priestess secrets. Yeah. I won't go any further. And they have a lot of them, and they would threaten to release them. This is a president from the past. I mean, if I wanted to, these would be the cards I would choose to illustrate the story of the past that Putin has with Trump. He absolutely does have compromat, but there's financial stuff, money laundering, other stuff as well. Absolutely. This is a president who can't go against Putin because Putin holds compromat over him. If I was an Alaskan right now, I'd never vote for Trump again. Holding this meeting in Alaska is an insult to Alaskans. How do Alaskans feel? And then I'll move on to something else. How do Alaskans feel about the Putin-Trump meeting? How do Alaskans feel? The devil, meeting with the devil, judgment and inevitability. I don't think they're that impressed. We have the devil and we have an inevitability about the devil. Death. Good God. Oh my God. I don't know if anyone's polled Alaskans, but these are terrible cards. The Chariot, things getting out of control in the past. Justice is in the sky. Wow. So we forget that's the second time that's come up here. We forget that Trump isn't America. Well, we don't forget that. We know that. But he doesn't control America. There are 330 million people, or there were last time I looked. Trump's one person. His government is a handful of authoritarian wannabes. The army we saw during the march in Washington defied Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, and Trump. So we forget. So we have victory here. We forget the magician that he doesn't speak for the people. The Seven of Coins, the first one, it's like the harvest withering, and so they've got to make another plan. I don't think Alaskans are too happy with Murkowski. the government, hopes and fears, like there's a fear here. And the Four of Wands, reunions. That's the Democrats card, the Temperance card. I don't know if Alaskans have been polled, but yeah, they're not. The Moon card and the Empress card, they're not happy about this. They're not happy with the Trump government. And some are moving to a more moderate point of view as a result of Trump. Murkowski better be careful. I don't know. I don't think she's up for election, is she? But her popularity isn't good. We'll see what the polls say out of Alaska. I might look them up after I finish the reading. All right, now I'll get to the part. I'll change decks, but the part of the reading that I'm a bit concerned, given they think it's okay to go and look at people's social media, that YouTube. I'm a bit concerned about whether or not YouTube will resist Trump or will give in to his authoritarianism. And if that's the case, what's the future for channels like mine, for other podcasts on YouTube, other resistance podcasts, the whole ecosystem like Midas Touch and others that we all rely on for news? It's only seems to me a question of time before Trump will try and crack down on YouTube. So let's have a look at that. Will Trump, every other media source has capitulated, but YouTube is the very lifeblood, the very breath of life for YouTube is in its diversity, in its freedom of speech, in its allowing content to be created as it will. Would be the end of YouTube. So is Trump going to try and crack down on YouTube? Is Trump going to try and crack down on YouTube? The Three of Cups, circles of support. Is Trump going to try and crack down on YouTube? Oh, the Empress card. That's 3 times that's come up. It leads me to believe that he's following Putin's playbook here, and the Nine of Pentacles. So again, what's this to do with money and abundance? What is it? Is there... I don't even want to say it and give them ideas. There is a way that they might be able to... I don't know. I'm just going to say there's something in the works. 10 of Wands. Difficulty... I think it would be a difficult one to pull off. The Chariot, things getting out of control, speeding up. We have the Queen of Wands in the sky. The Epstein stuff. And then there's that Three of Cups again. Circles of support, planning. The Hanged Man. I'm wondering, pausing, suspending something, and then boundaries are under threat. I'm just going to say there's something that they're going to try and do here. It's not an obvious route. It's a different route that they're taking. I'm not going to spell it out. I don't want to spell it out. It's like they're going to, I don't know, put a tax on something, or I don't know. There's something else they're going to do. 6 of Swords. Moving out of troubled waters in the hopes and fears, and then the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, it's got to do with, I don't know, there's a lot of pentacles showing up here. The Knight of Swords, the Truth. So they don't do it for, withholding something. They don't do it in a overt way. It's not, okay, we'll get everybody to put in their social security number, for example. It's not a overt way. It's a kind of a way that nobody's really thinking about at this time, but it has to do with money. And then retreat, wounded in battle. It isn't entirely successful, what they're trying to do. The Knight of Pentacles, consistency. Are they trying to, again, the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Swords, the truth and the voter, are they trying to strong-arm Google here? There's something they're doing via finances. Google could announce a new rule, for example, that might affect people like me. Something's coming. I have a feeling something's coming, and we need to prepare for it. I do have a Substack channel. I'll start putting it there. I don't post anything on it because, quite frankly, I'm, enough is enough for me with my health issues. But if need be, we'd just migrate over to Substack. So if you want to, I'll start putting the link to my Substack channel underneath the videos. And if you just want to sign up, and then if the worst comes to the worst, we'll simply migrate over there. Okay. All right. Let's just do one for freedom of speech. No, we'll do a deep dive. I want to do a deep dive on freedom of speech and AI. Maybe at the beginning of the week. I've been waiting to do that reading for a while. But before I leave, I do want to just ask you to go forward in time. Ask my spirit guides to go forward in time. Will the Trump era ever end? Will the Trump MAGA era end? Will there be some sanity that is restored? What cards can you get us? Can you give us to reflect on? Will the Trump era and the MAGA era ever end? Everything has an ending. Will the Trump era and the MAGA era ever end? Wholeness. Isn't that interesting? Wholeness. I heard someone talk about say something the other day about, the Dems said, we're the ones that are going to protect democracy. It fell on deaf ears. That's because nobody really had their democratic rights challenged. Now they do. Wholeness and play. Wholeness and play. So again, I guess, understanding that, and this is what a strong thread that came through the reading, we get immersed in what's wrong rather than looking at what's right. And I feel that there is so much there that has been stopped by the courts that, that if you look at the polls, his opinion, the opinion polls are way down for Trump. Musk is the most loathed man. One of the most loathed men in America. So we underestimate the power, I guess, of the people. We have intuition, using our own intuition. Do we think that the end is nigh? That this Trump MAGA era will end, and we have truth coming. Intuition and truth. This is really the crux of it all. And in Australia, this was demonstrated in the Labor Party taking 90 seats out of 150. 90 seats, a landslide victory, and it was a referendum on Trump. Why? Because we were using our intuition. And we saw the truth, and it didn't matter what the media said, what the loudmouth podcasters said. We saw the truth, and I think we need to not underestimate that Americans can get to that point too, and we have wonder. I see kind of like, it's not like a miracle, but it's like, wow, how did that happen? How did that good thing happen? And energy, it is the energy of the people that you will see that will end this Trump MAGA era. Underneath here we have resilience, nuance and grounding. So I think we need to take a step back from all that is, all that is fearful, and there's plenty of that. I'm not saying don't be scared. But sometimes we need to have faith in what's underneath the obvious. and that is in the ability of Americans, and indeed those across the world, to do the right thing when they absolutely have to. All right, bye for now.